Hello, we're back.
Hi, Mom. We are
Yeah.
Megan and
Marsha.
we're two generations, one microphone and no filters, and we're in Sacred Soul Mornings, and we're talking about the third chapter of the Tao Te Ching, the Tao. And in my English commentary translation from the public library that no one else has a copy of now, so I told Mom I feel kind of bad about that because if I'm hoarding it, no one else can find the knowledge, and I'll take it back to our library.
Yeah.
We're talking about the idea of non-action. And frankly, in this version, it's kind of hard for me to understand
Oh,
as a new
sorry.
person. What?
I just knocked my light, but it's okay. I'm good. All's
That's
well.
good. All's fine. Do you want to, you have an easier translation of
I
chapter
do.
non-act.
Mine has the person who translated Tao Te Ching, Te Ching, however you say it,
I think that
has
was
some
right.
different, simpler words. And instead of saying um, inaction, says return to passion.
Oh,
We
I
were
like
talking about that, yeah, earlier.
in the
Um,
car.
yeah,
Wow.
if achievement, here's what he suggests. If achievement is valued, jealousy will result. If possessions are valued, hoarding and stealing will result. And when I'm reading this, I did look on Chat GPT, and some of this is, it says a deeper interpretation, but it does have some of the same words. Therefore, this path is one of contentment and simplicity. It empties the mind of its chattering and fills the soul with truth. It frees us from our wanting and returns us to our passion. No longer needing to have our own way, we are not fooled by clever plots and plans. Our actions become focused, pure, and effortless. And this morning, or earlier today, we were talking about, it is morning, but anyway, earlier today, we were talking about um, the Lord's Prayer
Oh,
a
yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. Well, mhm.
And and about how that I think you were saying how you kind of took it into your mind. It's um, being reminded to think about the five senses in a way and being in kind
Yeah.
of learning how to appreciate the moment that you're in, wherever you are.
Yeah.
And that makes me think of this a little bit, the inaction or um, the passion. And also in this book, another thought that I wanted to share about it. Well, I don't know if it's from this or not, but anyway, um, this way, the way of that Lao was talking about, forces us from our wanting and returns us to our passion. And then an example is think of a time when you were completely absorbed in what you were doing and that peace that you felt. And
Mhm.
so Lao was kind of suggesting, hey, just go out and use your senses. I'm thinking about this beautiful day that we're having right now as far as weather is
It
concerned.
is beautiful. Mhm.
And being in the moment and in that kind of moment like that, you're not thinking about um, what other people are thinking about you, or you're not thinking about trying to make more money because you want to buy a new car or whatever. You're not thinking about
Yeah,
things like
no, that's
that.
exactly it. None of
So
the
that kind of little peaceful moment when you're involved in doing something that
and
you
the
enjoy doing.
sun, like today, because when we talked this morning, we talked on the phone this morning. We live about 10
Yeah.
hours away with traffic. But the weather today is beautiful up here. And when you don't have the sun for this long, that warm sun is like something else. There's nothing that compares to that warm sun and it's free. So it doesn't matter how much money you have or anything. You can go outside and feel the warm sun just like the little birdies do.
Hmm.
And I guess that's what they're talking about. But so
Hmm.
this morning we were saying that passion, that word has so much connotation in the English
Hmm.
language that it's hard to even use that word, but it is true. But passion and the senses are a way to get into the flow, a way to get into this Taoist way of living. And so, we were talking on the phone about how a few years back I got really into this idea for a book idea. I threw it away because I've got too many other things about living life in a passionful way, with like, and I do this with my students too. We do a joy inventory at the beginning of the year. They have to be pretty old to get it. And it's about your senses, your joy inventory. What things bring you super joy, not just happiness with your food? What tastes do you have around that bring you happiness? Maybe ramen even, maybe ketchup. I don't know. Kids are, and then your smells. And for me, that's McDonald's coffee lately. It brings me joy, and I'm just trying to cut back. But that smell, feelings, blankies, sun, whatever brings you joy. If you fill up your life with that sensory stuff, your heaven is now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key.
Mm-hmm.
But back to all this, what do they say? Non-action, such a word. Wow, we were really thrown by how our society here, even the public school system, especially because both of us spent so many years in it, and how we do everything. I can't even separate myself from this. Enhances what it says not to do in here.
Lots of action.
Yeah, it says
Yeah.
like in my version, it says if you don't, it says not to honor the worthy puts an end to contending among the folk. So it means, stop recognizing people for doing stuff, for being worthy. Stop recognizing them for it, because otherwise you're going to have people contending for that spot.
Yeah. It's
Holy
interesting.
cow, I know I love gold stars. I mean, even on my Zoom meetings,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, gold stars, whatever, not gold stars, hearts. I wish they had stars. I'm like, good
Mm-hmm.
job, hearts. And then other kids are like, oh, I didn't get a heart. I didn't get
Mm-hmm.
a heart. I didn't get a heart. It says, don't prize rare goods. And then it puts an end to theft.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's interesting to think about. Yeah.
even Nikes. Don't prize the Nikes. Nobody steals the Nikes
Mm.
as a culture. I don't even know
Mm-hmm.
where how to unwrap my brain from this level of envy. I was thinking to myself, I think I was talking to you, but then I was thinking to myself later too, that I have such layers of envy, even though I think I'm a pretty not envious person,
Uh-huh.
that it's like unwrapping an onion. And then I'm like, what? There's more
Yeah.
envy here. Even me watching the new Meghan Markle beautiful cooking show. And
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And it's relaxing. And it's like exactly like my wall, the
Mm-hmm.
aesthetics. It makes me go, oh, rats. I need something to put my Himalayan pink salt in that looks like that. Wouldn't
Mm-hmm. I know.
even
It's
think
interesting.
about it. Or yes, I do need flower sprinkles. She has sprinkles made out of flowers, like dried flowers.
Oh.
I go, yes, I do need flower sprinkles for my children instead of regular sprinkles. Well, okay, but I never even considered flower sprinkles. We're fine. We have a
Mm-hmm.
cabinet full of sprinkles that are sure. Um, whatever.
Flower sprinkles. I never heard of them
I know.
either.
Okay, see, now you're like, oh, I need those too. They're dried
Well, it does
flowers.
sound, yeah,
I
it
know
does
it
sound like
puts
a
them on
good idea.
everything, and then everything's like beautiful, but you never even
Yeah.
contemplated
Mm-hmm.
that you needed dried flower sprinkles until I watched that TV show. And we're just bombarded with
Yeah.
stuff.
And we are. But sometimes it's kind of fun. I guess our
Super fun,
human self kind of enjoys it a little bit.
but it
And
creates
then the envy part when you're talking about that, because I take yoga classes, different kinds of yoga. Like today was a fitness class, a
pain.
strength class.
Yeah.
But anyway, and these people, it's like, I had my tribe of people I went to that I worked with for years and years and years and years. And now I have a new tribe of people, and they are very different than people I grew up with, and people anyway that when you were growing up that we were around, very, very different, but still human and still just people too. So I guess like Lao is saying, hey, let's just be people. He's not saying get rid of everything and go be, I don't know what he's saying, but I'm saying,
Where you are so much in this
yeah,
moment that you're
in
not
this
paying
moment.
attention to the fact that people are going to across the world and yachts and stuff. I don't know, right?
Well, I know one of my instructor was talking about visiting her sister in Chicago. She goes, they live near where, that bean,
They
that
live
skull.
near the bean. We all know what that. Yeah, wow, that's some nice living.
And she goes, and we're in their apartment on the 49th floor, looking down at the lake, and I'm just going, breathe, it's okay.
And it's okay if somebody lives near the bean. But yeah.
Yeah. But she's just, my instructor is just she's a a spirit just like me, and we honor each other, appreciate each other, and in this class, and so that was me. That was my very ego-driven self for a minute in there. Now I shared a second minute, but anyway, just saying yes. So, and with that being said, I know I'm probably interrupting your train of thought. This is why I enjoy doing this because I don't like feeling the yucky feelings. I want to feel hopeful, happy, peaceful feelings, and that's the reason why I search for more than what I was raised with, or different or better than just what I was raised with. And it's not turning my back on anything else. It's just me opening my mind and my heart up, opening up to receive. And then the little verse piece popped in my mind, but seek and you will find. We're told that, seek
Just
and you
kept
will
asking
find.
and you just keep finding and you just keep asking and keep finding. And then you're like, where's the end of this? Probably
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, the way we were raised, and it's not just fundamentalist Christianity, it's a lot of Christianity. I mean, when you believe that there's an external heaven that you're working for, that whole system from birth, even if Jesus covers all sin, it's still something that you're working towards to get
Yeah.
to. It's
Hmm.
dependent on you doing something to get to this other place somewhere. And that's
And
not
that's counter to a lot of other stuff that is in that marvelous book about, but where's grace?
from where
You
it's
know,
heaven.
yeah, and where is
Kingdom is
heaven?
within.
Hmm.
Here it is now. There's no New Testament things that conflict with this actually. You just have to look at it with new eyes.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's really and there's nothing's conflicting. You just have to put it in its right time and place.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we were talking mainly, about the Lord's Prayer, which is so funny that they singled out that to say, this is it. This is the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah.
Not the Lord's Prayer. Sorry, I'm talking about something else. No, I'm not. What am I talking about? Not the Lord's Prayer. That one too. No, 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 no. I was talking about David. David and
Yeah.
fish.
Oh, but the
Uh,
Psalm
Psalms.
23.
Yeah, I was thinking about that right now. Sorry.
Hmm. Oh,
So
sorry.
David. No, so Jesus sometimes can seem unattainable because he didn't mess up ever. And so that makes him, and I'm sure this is nobody's fault, really. Maybe they wrote this over and over years that he was just so perfect that he also didn't experience any feeling, it almost seems like. Like he didn't say, oh, I really love these fish. These fish are great. Thank you. Thank you, God, for these fish. I'm so glad we have fish, but I wish we had some ranch sauce.
Hmm.
Or, boy, I'm so glad we're sleeping here on this floor. It's great. I love my floor mat. It's so wonderful. I really wish this rock wasn't under my hip. We never hear that part about
Hmm.
Jesus.
Hmm.
And that's hard to identify. But David, we hear that in the Psalms. David's always like this,
Hmm.
with all
Hmm.
this stuff. And what's cool about him is that he changed and learned.
Hmm.
He wasn't static and perfect. He was like us. And anyway, so he has
Hmm.
his the Lord is my shepherd prayer in there. He's always pleading.
Yeah.
um, but also thinking. And so the Lord is my shepherd is not like a God, please come help me, save me. It's a declaration. He's
Hmm.
saying, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And so this is connected to this chapter in the Tao because if the Lord is your shepherd, if the greater good, the flow
Hmm.
is your shepherd, you're not going to want anything. You're not going to need anything in your heart in that moment.
Hmm. In the
He
moment.
makes you lie down in green pastures, not dry, yucky, muddy pastures, and
Hmm.
beside still waters, not beside torrential, dangerous waters or trickly, dry waters or nasty sewage waters.
Yeah.
He's saying, my Lord, my person, my flow, my belief in this leads me on a good path
Hmm.
because I believe it. And
Yeah.
then I'll have no lack of things because I believe it. It doesn't mean that you're going to get a deluge of billions of dollars right then, but your belief in that moment, your needs are taken care of. And it's really easy to see that out in nature. You talk about Lao Tzu like a friend, he's walking around and maybe he is.
Hmm. Hmm.
And seeing that in nature. And for us, it's easy to see it in nature too. When we go outside, I can see my birds, I can see my crows. And I'm pretty
Hmm.
sure the crows aren't feeling, I mean, maybe they're getting pretty nasty about the peanuts, but they're not
So cute.
feeling for want.
Mm-hmm.
They play.
They're not sitting around thinking about, those crows over there have more than I have. They're not doing
I don't
that.
think so. And they're not saying those crows get to visit 4 states and I'm stuck here in the frozen tundra. They're not saying that. Like if they wanted to leave, they
Mhm.
just go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we can learn a lot, and there are other wise people who have been do appreciate what we're given and what's before us, and take it in, kind of like what we're doing by reading the Tao and making connections,
Yeah.
and some other and other books,
Yeah.
like
It's like my new books. And it doesn't mean that you're not gonna overcome all feelings. Because like last chapter we talked about that dualism. You're still gonna have feelings here. You're never gonna be 100% happy. And you're not gonna maybe be able to get rid of the physical sensations of having a thorn in your side or something or in your foot. I don't know.
Well, and with you bringing
Still
that
gonna
up,
have that, but you might have a more peaceful way. And here's some keys
mhm,
left by like Lao Tzu, this old wise man. Someone said, okay, fine. I don't really know if I'd even write this down because people will figure it out on their own, but maybe I ought to write it down so people stop asking me. And so he wrote it down. Someone wrote this down, and we can go
mhm,
for people who are looking, go, oh, wow, I thought that too. It's usually how it
mhm,
goes, is an I thought that too thing instead of this is brand new to me. It's I thought that too.
a connection in the heart and the spirit. When
Yeah.
you mentioned the dualism, I read in my one of my books that I'm
Yeah, the
rereading.
Ragamuffin Gospel. I'm gonna have to reread this book. I
That
completely
was
forgot.
that was talking about the dualism of chapter 2 of the Tao. And so anyway, one little thing here, I made a connection. Except now, what did I do with it? And if I can't find it, I'm so sorry.
Blue.
Well, oh,
It
over
was
here.
about wanting.
Yeah.
That word
Huh?
was so tricky. It was about wanting, wasn't it? About,
Shall not want.
yeah, wasn't it? Connection in the Ragamuffin Gospel, something about that? How all your needs are met or something. I can't remember. You read it this morning.
I right here. When I get honest, so he was the author of this book was writing this, and it's Brennan Manning. Anyway, when I get honest, I admit I'm a bundle of paradoxes. I believe and I doubt. I hope and get discouraged. I love and I hate. I feel bad about feeling good. I feel guilty about not feeling guilty. I am trusting and suspicious. I am honest and I still play games. And anyway, so Aristotle said that I'm a rational animal, whatever that means. But anyway, it just kind of
Mhm.
makes me think about that it's human to have these
It is.
feelings like that,
And that it's okay.
and that it's okay.
And that it's if you become a Taoist or you become an anyist or ism, you're not going to get rid of the humanity part of being in this body.
Yeah,
But you might have more peace because you
with
choose
more
to want to
peace.
live a life with more peace if that's what you want.
And you don't have to.
You don't
So,
have to. Maybe you get peace doing other stuff. That's questionable to me. But everybody's different and it's a very live and let live type way of living. I don't have to tell anybody to do anything.
I don't know where you are in your thinking right now, but I could share from Chat GPT some of the thoughts that were combined together, I guess, to give
Yeah.
some other insight about chapter 3.
Or pulling it from somewhere if it's in Chat GPT, right?
And so then the chapter touches on the importance of humility. Sorry, I'm just reading and
No, I think that's fine. I'm kind of off
so
today. I'm good.
humility, simplicity, and balance in leadership and life. So it's kind of, it touches upon the things that were discussed in chapter 1, chapter 2, and now touching upon again. And so let's break down some of the key themes. Themes. Number 1, the dangers of overvaluing material things. So we were talking about that. The first line stressed that when people place too much importance on material wealth, so it's placing too much importance, or possessions, negative behaviors arise, such as theft and dishonesty.
Yeah.
So, this suggests that attachment to material goods causes societal problems and unrest. By avoiding excessive attachment to things, peace and trust can flourish. That's what I like because we are humans. It's just like we might desire to go on a vacation, we might desire to have chocolate cake that's gluten free. But anyway, we might desire things, and it's okay. The excess attachment. Here's a part that was different than some of the things that we read that you shared and that I shared from my other book. But relying on force and control, when authority figures rely too much on force or coercion to control others, it breeds resistance and rebellion.
And we know that from children. That's the thing is, it's like all this is, sorry to interrupt
Like,
your thought.
no,
All
I'm
this
reading.
is so, anybody that is worked with kids or had kids, but especially worked with kids and had kids, like when you have that many kids around you, you know this if you stop and think. This
Hmm.
resonates. You
Yeah.
know, I know that whatever. You know, it's about the power of belief too. With like kids, when they come back from winter break and you got to reteach them all those skills again, they kind of learn that they don't know the skills of how to use the water fountain. Because I don't know how to explain this, but you know, like the more you pressure them and teach them all the expectations, and you have charts everywhere about this is how you put your snow clothes on, this is how you walk down the hallway, this is how you eat in the lunchroom, they like give up completely on even trying to learn it themselves
Yeah. Yeah.
entirely
I agree.
because they just think that nobody thinks they can, and you try to force them, and it's just this complete horrible snowball of behaviors. Um,
Hmm.
even in the best of children.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And grown-ups out in the
grown up.
bigger school is a micro society of the bigger society, you know.
Yes.
And so, yeah, even for all of us.
Because
And
most
so,
kids, most children, most neurotypical children, especially when I work with those little bitty ones in a group on their own, will figure out what to do for their own survival really well, even without adults. Way better than we think they will. If you leave them alone, they will figure it out in
mhm.
amazing ways. And for the other ones who are stragglers, they'll help them out with way more love than you think that kids can give. I don't even know where it comes from. They've got to be born with it. Because it's amazing. Um, and then the ones who are over there really with some other behaviors, that'll get figured out too. They might have to be alone for a little bit. And then they'll join
And
back
that's,
in.
hmm, hmm.
I don't know. And so what do we do? What do we do with this knowledge that we just got from chapter 3 of the
Yeah.
Tao Te Ching?
Well, and then have faith
Unravel everything.
in have faith that the path is happening.
Yeah, that's
Do
true.
we want to fight against it, or like, we talk about with in the flow of water, do we want to fight against it, or just kind of
Yeah.
go with whatever's going on? And that is it. That's a big lesson.
Individually.
Yeah.
Individually, you think? Because I still have the compulsion every once in a while to go, everybody needs to just do this. If I could just tell
Mhm.
everybody this, they all need to do it. We'd all be on the flow together and we would be a great society and schools would be great and governments would be great and we could
Well, and
have,
that would be the force and coercion side of things a little
I
bit.
know. But isn't that the truth
Mhm.
though? You know, and you want to make these children programs so we can, you know, I go down this path where we could all go in there and learn about, you know, tenderness, sewa. We could all learn about it. And I still kind of want to do that, but it's not, that's
So
it's got
this
to
kind
be
of
personal.
the next part of this is because it's paradoxes, I guess. But anyway, true leadership doesn't come from exerting power or control, but from cultivating trust and respect. So trust and self-knowledge. So the wise
Oh,
person
okay,
or the
okay, okay.
sage doesn't impose their will on others, nor do they seek to control situations. Instead, they know themselves, which gives them wisdom to lead without being overt.
To lead without being overt. Oh, that's it. So there is a little key in there about leaders, even if it's just leaders of the 4K room or leaders of the tribe of three niños in my house.
And
Yeah. Mm. That there's something about that.
lead by example.
And lead by belief.
and
Like
believe.
it, not just empty praise, but like my son did a really great job, my my only son did a really great job of wanting to clean out the closets. Of course, he has his own internal motivation of why he wants to clean out my hall closets because he wants to sit in them like a cave and also hoard more items in his room. But the fact that I wasn't joking, I was like, you really have helped me organize this in a way that I couldn't do. And he eats that up and he believes that he has the ability to organize.
Oh.
But it's true though.
hmm
It,
Well,
you
that's a,
when you believe that kids and adults can rise to the occasion, they're going to rise to the occasion.
yeah.
But when we go in going, you guys have no clue what to do on earth. You don't even know how to sit. You don't even know how to like, not really body basics. You don't even know how to sit on your body. Your bodies are completely wild in the world. And we have to go through and go, this is what you do with your butt. This is what you do with your hands. This is what you do with your mouth. And in case you forget, we have this chart system.
hmm
They just completely are like, I have no internal abilities.
hmm mm
And that might be the difference between school when I was in school versus school now.
hmm Yeah.
And I know it's all well-meaning, and I'm all about visuals. I got them visuals. I got visuals all over the place.
hmm
But there's something about that. It's the same with the parents
hmm
of the kids. There has to be some belief that people know what they're doing and can be competent. So, that's my big thing I harp on. We only have about 5 minutes left, but
Oh, really?
yeah,
Well,
it went fast again, is that you've got to have um, to be a good leader, even in a small capacity, maybe not the principal or something. You've got to inspire others to take ownership of their abilities. We've got to have confidence and competence. So no matter what level you are, and I worked in special ed, no matter what level you are in those IEPs, we've got to find one thing that you're good at. If that one thing is, I don't know what, putting stuff in a box,
hmm
maybe. And I know, so that's even hard for some of the ones I work with. And
hmm
if it's just sharing a moment of love by touching hands, maybe we can hold hands like some of the most difficult kids I've ever been with, in a state that are unable to do that.
hmm
Just encouraging the competence that I am so glad we are here able to share that moment. Because
hmm
without that, there's nothing else. And so a good leader does that
Looks
sneakily.
for the good. Looks for the good. I
Looks
know.
for the good. And yeah,
Yeah. That used to be a teaching poster that would be all teachers would put up in the room. Look for the
did that
good.
ever removed? Just ran out of room with all the other ones. We'll talk about micromanaging.
Well, anyway,
Holy
we
moly,
know.
teachers
Yes.
got micromanaging to death too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it. I went down on that framework of Danielson every year I worked. 20 years later, I'm less
Makes no
competent than the
sense.
first year.
Which makes no sense.
I know, but I just
Oh.
mean you have to have competence, competent feelings in your staff too. They have to have those feelings in themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise you get apathetic.
And it's probably in people that are watching this. I'm sure, I'm hoping that there's some that are not just in the education world. But anyway, so please, 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 I will say, please leave us. Um, it's encouraging to get some um, response
Feedback, some
back, feedback.
response.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah. But we're going to keep doing this anyway because this for us is a practice
it is.
in us changing our lives.
Yeah, it is.
It's a moving, talking practice of meditation in its own. And
It
we
is.
spend time in silence too on our own, and we spend time in nature, but this is its
Mhm.
own journey.
I
So,
like that moving meditation, active moving meditation. It is. Thank you.
and thank you. And thank you for talking about chapter 3. And we'll do chapter 4 next time, which I want to see what it is really quick.
Okay, me too.
I'll tell you my word. I only have so much minutes. Oh
Oh,
no, it's called empty.
I don't know why that's
Empty.
sorry.
Yours
It's
probably
called,
doesn't say empty.
and mine says the bounty of life. So we'll have to see where this goes, won't we? Good. Wow.
I
The
get it. I get
bounty.
it. Yes, that is very interesting. So that it brings to mind how translation of words is very confusing sometimes. And so you cannot just rely on a literal interpretation through one language of anything.
Exactly.
Because it is impossible to say the bounty and the empty and mean the same thing if you're being
Well,
literal.
and here's another one. I'll just walking this path, we experience inexhaustible energy.
Hmm,
That's another interpretation.
interesting. Very
Yeah,
nice.
we'll dig into that.
Okay, I was going to
Positive.
say something. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Are we ready to wrap up? Remember, life's a journey, not a checklist. So breathe deep, laugh loud, and trust the ride.
trust the ride. All right, it's good. Bye.